What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Real Bodybuilding Podcast. It's episode 179, and I'm here with the strongest bodybuilder on the planet, Akim Williams. How are you, brother?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
I gave you the title of strongest bodybuilder ever because I recall seeing all your posts from over the years of you squatting and fucking just doing crazy, crazy weights.
hmm
I wanted to ask you about that first. What
hmm
I've noticed that your training has changed a little bit. Is that on purpose? Is that just because you're getting maybe older, or what? I don't see as much of the crazy squats as we used to.
I guess it's a combination of both getting older and sometimes the whole definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting like better results. But
Right.
I feel like I had to make some changes in my training and stuff like that to like take my body to the next level. So that's what I decided to do.
So when you started training, were you always like a heavy? Did you always just train heavy? Was that like your thing from when you started?
It's kind of funny because I never saw it as training heavy. It's just that the weights just felt really light. you know
You know
yeah,
how
I
many you know
mean,
how many people are going to be angry that you said that, right? Like nobody like. So what's your? Can you tell me what your max like? How many plates have you done on a squat?
I did about 840 before in squats.
840 for how many
Yeah.
reps? Is that like a
uh,
double or?
I think it was double. It was a double. I did 844.
Okay, that's what is that, like 9 plates or something like that?
Yeah, close to nine
Okay.
plays. Yeah.
So you never looked at it as I'm doing this on purpose to get big and dense. You did it just because like the weights felt lighter, so you just kept putting more on.
Yeah,
Jeez. Okay. So were all your lifts like that, or was it more just squats?
mostly squats and deadlifts. I was really like when you say strong, I was really good with squats and deadlifts. I think those were my two best lifts. Bench press, the most I got up to was about 550.
Okay.
You
I mean
know,
that's still
yeah.
very respectable. But what was your max deadlift?
I think I pulled about 850 also before.
850. Have you ever
Yeah.
did you ever think about powerlifting, or was your passion always bodybuilding?
Well, to be honest with you, when I first started, I used to do Bros versus Pro with Dave Palumbo. So
Hmm.
for a lot of years, I was actually the one pro that would always represent the pros against the
Yeah.
bros.
Yeah.
So I battled with Larry Wheels before. I battled
Okay.
with a lot of like up and coming powerlifters and stuff like that. I even had a competition against Derek Poundstone one time.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
And how did that go? Did he beat you?
yeah, he beat me. I mean, I was about 2 weeks out from a show, so
Well, this is what I'm
yeah,
saying. You never
yeah,
actually
yeah,
trained for it, but
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I want to get into your origin for a minute, but I just want to quickly ask you about this. Did you ever specifically train for a powerlifting lift meet?
No, I never trained. No, I'm
So
so
you
proud of it.
kind of just
I
walk in and do it.
just walking in there, yeah.
Um, okay.
It's a funny story about that. I think I can't remember what year it was, but we had a Bros versus Pros and Larry Wheels, and I didn't want to compete,
Hmm.
so I showed up to the meet, and I told Dave. After a while, Larry Wheels had no competition. I think he had no competition. Like he was just destroying everybody.
Yeah.
And I told Dave, I was just like, listen, put up some money and I'll jump right in. And I think Larry was already up to like 700 and something.
Yeah.
I just jumped right in on the deadlift.
Did you really?
I started battling to him. I think I beat him that time actually.
You
I think
didn't
that
go,
part,
you didn't go like 5, 6, 7. You
nah,
just jumped in
I
at
just jumped.
700.
Yeah, I just jumped in and I beat him. I think that's one of the first times he ever lost a powerlifting meet actually. But that's before he took it to the next level,
Can
you
I
know?
ask you though? I'm always fascinated by guys that are like as strong as you, and James and some of these guys that lift like these crazy lifts. You don't feel like when you're lifting that kind of weight, you don't feel anything in your joints, you don't feel anything in your tendons, like it just feels smooth for you.
Yeah, and that goes back to show you, like I said, the weight just feel
Yeah,
light to me,
yeah,
So
yeah.
I never like I go back now and I look at like videos of me putting like 7, 8 plates on my back and squatting it, and I'm like, shit. But back then when I was doing it, I never thought about it like that.
So when you try something like that now, I don't know when the last time you tried it, but like do you feel it in your like in your body?
Well, I mean, the most I go up to like on squats is like about 4 plates now. I don't deadlift
Yeah,
anymore because
yeah.
I had a car accident and that kind of left my lower back a little bit shot.
Okay.
Even with squats, I just do like 4 plates. But even when I do four, like last year, I was squatting 4 plates and I was trying to get like 26, 27 reps, you know?
Jesus.
So it's not like
So
the weight is heavy, it's still, but I just refuse to put that kind of weight on my back because what am I,
yeah,
trying to prove?
right. So So you said at the beginning of this, you said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again without the results.
Mhm.
So where was it? How long ago was it where you decided like this heavyweight shit's not working for me? I got to change.
It happened with when I started training with Oscar Ardon.
Okay.
So I remember when I first started with training Oscar Ardon, I was very strong. And I remember one time, yeah, Oscar is the type of trainer, if he's a little bit mental, and if
Mhm.
you show him that you're strong, he would try to push you to your limit.
Yeah.
So I remember one time we were squatting and we got up to like 7 plates.
Uh-huh.
And this dude wanted me to get 15 reps with 7 plates.
Jesus Christ.
You
So
know,
so what happened? Did you do it or did you?
well, I don't back down from a challenge. So I put it on my back and I started squatting. I think we got to 9,
Hmm.
almost 10,
Hmm.
and my back just gave out.
Really?
Yeah, and I remember I couldn't walk straight for like at least like 2 weeks. So after that, I'm like, yeah, like either I change some shit up or this dude is literally gonna put me in the grave.
So did you stop working with him at that point, or did you just tell him like I'll keep working with you, but we're not doing that shit no more?
Yeah, I told him like, yeah, we let's do more volley. He said he was the one that suggested,
Yeah.
I know you're strong, but let's try something a little bit different and let's try doing more volume stuff. And that's what we
Walk
started doing.
walk me through your coaches. I know you work with Dave Palumbo and you work with Oscar. Is that the only two coaches you work with?
Dave, I work with Dave. I work with Oscar. I also work with Justin Miller for a little bit.
Okay.
And right now, I'm currently working with Chris Aceto. And also, like my friend Abdullah, he
Mhm.
helped me out a few times also too. So I
Yeah,
got to
yeah.
give him credit for that.
Well, what was the longest, like, how long did you work with Dave for?
During my amateur years and maybe like one or two pro show.
Did Dave have you on like a low carb or no carb diet?
We
Because I
did
know,
low we did low carbs before, but after a while, I guess he realized that that didn't work for me,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because it just ate up too much muscle.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then you went to Oscar. How long were you with Oscar?
I was with Oscar for a couple years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then these last, four, I don't know, I think you've done three shows in the last like few months.
Mhm.
Those are all with Chris.
Yeah, those are Chris Aceto, yeah.
Do you think those are your best looks?
I mean, as far I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but as far as just like being, simple and effortless, I
Yeah.
would say Chris is probably the best coach for that. He just makes it so easy to,
Yeah.
continue doing show to show to show. Because I did like 6 shows last year with him, and I was able to, stay healthy, stay focused, and not burn myself out and bang out 6 shows like it was nothing.
You did 6 shows last year.
Six
That's
shows,
right.
yeah.
You did
Yeah.
too.
Hmm.
Um, okay, but so his prep is easier, but do you feel like this is the best Akeem we've ever seen?
I believe so. It's between some of the looks that I brought. Like I really like the look I brought to the Arnold Classic in UK, where I came
Okay.
in third place. I thought that was a killer look.
Yeah.
Even I mean, they tend to say like I look better at the night show, but I felt like my Olympia look was crazy too. Like
I,
but
I was actually at the Arnold UK. You look incredible. At the Olympia, I thought uh you look good on both nights, but I thought the same thing. I thought
mhm,
if you brought Saturday on Friday,
mhm,
then like because you look something about Saturday night looked crazy to me.
mhm.
But you didn't think so. You thought Friday you were just as good.
Yeah, I thought I was just as good.
Really?
And
Um,
we went back to the hotel after prejudging, and Chris looked me over, and then after finals, he did the same thing. And he's just like, I don't see a difference, you
really?
know? Yeah.
Did you guys
So
did he do anything crazy out after Friday night or just keep everything the
nah,
same?
we keep everything the same. And people tend
Yeah.
to think like we work some kind of crazy magic, but I was already in shape, so you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, what about because your highest placing, I think, was sixth place at the Olympia, correct?
Hmm.
Who were you with when was that with Oscar?
That was it, Oscar. Yeah,
And how do you feel about that look?
that was a good look too. I was
Yeah,
a lot fuller around for that look. Arguably, I felt I could have placed higher at that show.
yeah,
I had some people like very, prestigious people told me they had me in at least like third place at that show, but
really.
yeah,
I wonder if I can pull that up here. Uh, what year was that? Do you remember?
I think that was right during the pandemic. So I think that was probably 2020, I think.
2020 Olympia. Is that the year Brandon won?
Uh, I believe so.
Let's take a look. See if we can find the look.
That's a year Phil Heath made his comeback.
Um, Oh, that's a YouTube vid. Is that okay? That's you there. That's the one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the Phil Heat needs to come back.
I wonder if we have any other. That's 2019.
Yeah, 2019.
That's the Chicago Pro. This is 20 versus 21. Yeah, you do look fucking big there, eh?
Mm-hmm. I think that was 2020. That side chested Robbie, that was 2020.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. You look great there, man. You look big,
Mm-hmm.
round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was the difference? So that's interesting that you say that about Chris, because not a lot of guys can do 6 shows and compete all year long. What was he doing that made it effortless for you?
Well, for one, previous coaches and stuff like that, I would do like cheat meals and stuff like that.
Yeah,
With Chris, we don't get that cheat meal
I got cheat
option.
meals when I worked with Chris. He didn't give you any.
I don't get that. I don't get that cheat meal option.
Maybe he's changed his philosophy, because I remember like we would
Yeah,
diet and like every couple weeks he would be like, go get a burger and fries or something like that, right? So
yeah.
he
Well,
cut all
maybe.
he cut all that shit out for you.
Yeah. I don't have that luxury. So
But
once
you, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I just
uh,
strategy wise, do you
uh,
find that easier or harder? Because as a bodybuilder myself, I'm like,
mm,
I feel like it's easier to suffer.
mm,
Like for, let's say, like when I work with Chad, for example, I would suffer for
mm,
a week. Like
mm,
he would kill me,
mm,
and then he would give me like Sunday to, he's like, go eat, have a couple
mm,
cheat meals, whatever. I always felt like it was easier to suffer and then get a
mm,
reward
mm.
than it was to just stay on all the time. How do you feel about that?
In the beginning, I missed it because I was so used to that system.
Yeah,
But now, now that I'm with Chris and I'm so used to this new system that we have, I
yeah,
kind of like it better because I don't have to go off track and then come back and mentally prepare
yeah.
myself to get back into this, it's
That
just
it,
tunnel
yeah.
vision the whole time.
Yeah, that is a thing, because after you have the cheat meals, the day after is always shit.
Yeah,
It's shitty.
yeah.
So, in the beginning, how long did it take you to kind of wean off the cheat meals? Like, was it like,
Ah man, it was a bit of a struggle because because I wasn't sure what he was doing yet. So
yeah?
I was like 1 week pass and I'm like 2 week pass and I'm like, are we gonna get like a burger and fry or like some pizza or something and nothing? And then
Did you
eventually I just
did you ask him, or were you just
nah, I
wondering?
didn't even ask him. I was
Yeah,
wondering in my head, but I never
yeah.
asked him. And eventually it just became an afterthought and I just kept on rolling, you know.
Really? That's
Yeah, but
great.
I was first couple weeks I was looking forward to like that cheat meal, that cheat day type stuff, and
Yeah.
but never happened.
You probably had that with Dave, right? Because I know Dave would go no carb and then give people like a
Yeah, they
burger.
they did that.
Yeah,
Justin did. Even Oscar did that sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So does Chris do anything? Was he doing like just refeeds with higher calories, or was he just saying like,
Well, once in a while he'll add more carbs and stuff like that.
yeah?
But it's all clean stuff. It's all rice, potatoes.
How do you feel about your body going up and down all year long? Like I know you're not getting really out of shape because you're competing so much, but like, is it wearing on your body to compete time and time again all year through the year?
Not really, man, because I try not to get as heavy. And before I used to get up over 300 pounds and stuff like that. And right now I try to stay at least like 280. I don't try to get past 280.
Yeah.
You know,
Which for people watching, 280 sounds crazy, but for you, it probably feels lean.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I feel so much better, doing that. Off season, I stay right around like 280. I
yeah,
don't ever try to get up past that. So
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
just a lot easier for me to stay healthy and stay.
Well, since competing is so easy, maybe we'll see you in Detroit.
Don't count it out yet. Like I said,
Okay.
I did 6 shows last year, but
Just
Detroit is we spoke about it a little bit, and you said Detroit is at the end of March, right?
end of March. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
so it's something I could struggle for a few more weeks and push through and do. So
yeah,
don't count me out yet.
we'd love to have you there. Okay, I want to go back. So, how did this all start? How did Akim get into bodybuilding? Were you just naturally a big guy? Did you play football? Like,
Nah,
what was the catalyst?
I was a basketball player, man. I was 100. My last physical for basketball was 137 pounds.
Really?
Yeah, I remember
What?
it correctly because I had to go
How old were
physical.
you? How old were you at that time?
Uh, I was 20, 21.
You were 137 pounds at 20?
20, 21, yeah. hmm
Holy fuck, man.
hmm
So, what was the catalyst to start bodybuilding?
Well, I started getting benched from the team and started. So I had to, I started working in the weight room, with the strength coach. And
Yeah.
one thing led to the next. I started lifting weights. And at the time, a buddy of mine was getting ready to go into the Marines. and he wanted to get bigger and everything like that. So at first I would just tag along and just be his spotter and stuff like that. And then
Yeah.
eventually he every once in a while he'd be like, yo, you gonna do a set? So, I got on there, they start benching and stuff like that. And then next thing you know, I look at him and I look at myself and I just keep getting bigger and bigger. And he just pretty much stayed the same. And I'm like, okay, what the hell is going on here? Because he's putting a lot of work in and I'm
Yeah.
not even taking the shit serious.
Yeah.
And before you know it, like 6 months, I look like a totally different person and he still looked the same. He actually quit actually.
Were
He's
you,
like, yo, that,
I hate to have to ask you this, but were you natural at the time?
natural, yeah.
And
My first,
your
yeah,
body just started responding.
body just started responding.
That's
Chest,
so crazy.
arms, everything just started like growing like crazy.
That's the
And
that's the weirdest story I've ever heard for somebody who
yeah.
got into bodybuilding. It was like totally an accident.
And he actually quit. He's just like, yo, I'm putting in all this work, doing all this stuff, and then you just look better than me. He's just like, so he stopped working out. So I just took it from there,
Yeah.
started training. And I remember one day I was heading home because I lived in New York at the time. I was living in Brooklyn, and I was heading home on the bus. And back then they had the Metro cards. I got on the bus and I was putting my Metro card in the slot, and this lady saw me and she's just like, holy crap, look at your triceps. So she gave me her business card and she just like, come out to Staten Island. I'm like, all right, cool. A buddy of mine went out to Staten Island with me, and she like, I want to introduce you to somebody. And I'm standing there waiting for the guy. The guy, he showed up like maybe half an hour, 45 minutes late. Like, what the hell is wrong with this dude? So I'm standing in the gym waiting for this guy. He finally comes up with a few of his friends, and he's pissed off because I don't know what he was doing. That his wife told him that he has to come to the gym and meet this kid, and he sees me, and his friend was just like, okay, strip. And I'm in the middle of the gym. I remember that as Players Day. And they like strip to your underwear, and I'm like, hell no.
I was gonna say, is that weird for you because you're not in the bodybuilding world?
Exactly. That was so weird for me. So the guy looked at me. He's like, "Listen, son, we're not gay. We just want to see what you look like."
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. So I stripped down to my underwear. He did a full 360 circle around me, and he's like, "All right, we're doing a show in Pennsylvania next week." Literally, I never trained for bodybuilding, never dieted, never did any of that crap.
And you're like 21 at this time.
Like 22.
22, okay.
23, yeah.
So you've been training lightly for a couple of years.
Yeah. Been training, but not bodybuilding training. Like I would just go lift weights,
Yeah.
And he said we're doing a show out in Pennsylvania. The show that we went and did, my first show was the Bill Graham Classic.
Okay.
And we got up to Pennsylvania. I remember my girlfriend at the time, she had to drive me out to Pennsylvania, and I got up there and I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing this shit. And she looked at me and she's just like, mother effer, you're doing this show because I just drove for like 4 or 5 hours and you don't want to get on stage. We're doing this show. So I got up there. I didn't even know, because the guy, he didn't even teach me how to pose or anything like that. He just said, we're doing a show. Here's the address. Show up. You're going to pay all the fees or whatever.
And it was a week. This is a week after meeting it.
A week after, yeah.
Okay.
A week after meeting it. We get up to Pennsylvania, and here I am, didn't know anything about tanning, didn't know anything about, he just told me to shave and show up.
Yeah.
So I got up there and I paid whatever, got the NPC card ever, and I'm backstage, looking around. I'm looking at these guys like, holy shit, look at these guys.
Yeah.
And got on stage. I didn't know what I was doing. I would look at the guy next to me, see what he did, and I would do the same thing that he did. So he said front double bicep. I would look and see you do a front double bicep, and I would do the same thing.
That's so crazy.
I won the whole show. I won everything. I won the novice, won the overall novice, and everything like that.
That's insane, man.
Yeah,
That's the craziest fucking story I've ever heard.
After that, I got hooked because I'm like, holy crap, this shit is easy.
Not for everybody. Not for everybody.
True story, man. Years later, one of the guys that was at that show, he just got his pro card actually in Classic Physique. His name is Sean Howard. He saw me and he was telling people the story. He's just like, we showed up at the Bill Graham Classic and everybody's just like, ready to pump up. And in comes this black guy, just took the clothes off, and everybody's just like, what the fuck is that?
Were you already fucking huge? Like, were you already
I had some size of me, but my muscles, like, had more pop and more roundness and stuff like that.
Okay, let me ask you, had you started?
No,
you were still natural.
Totally natural. Still natural.
What the fuck?
Yeah, still natural. And Sean, he was telling a few of my friends the story. He's just like, so I was looking at these guys like, holy crap, look at these guys. And they were looking at me like, what the hell is this guy? Like, shit, we can't beat this guy.
Yeah.
So he was telling the story, and I never thought of it that way, because the way I saw them, they saw me total opposite. Like, they saw me like, who the hell is this guy?
Right.
And I was able to.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was able to win. Long story short, the guy that made me do that show, his name is Leon Brown.
Okay.
Leon Brown used to train with Arnold Schwarzenegger and them back in the golden era of bodybuilding and stuff like that. So, he's won a lot of competition. So he was the one that actually got me into bodybuilding. Him and his wife, Danielle, got me into the
Okay.
bodybuilding thing.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
a fucking insane story, man. So you go back there. It's funny. You're intimidated by them.
Yeah, but they're more
I
intimidated by me. Yeah, yeah.
want to see. I typed in Akim Williams Bill Grant Classic.
Yeah, I think that was like
Is there
2010,
any
man.
is there any photos
Let's
anywhere?
see if I see one.
This is not.
Uh,
Is there anything here from like when you started, do you think?
Probably. You should probably find something. Probably put in 2010 in front of it.
This is 2013 North Americans. Okay.
Nah, I was on
Yeah.
something. Put it on try to type in 2010. I'm sure something should pop up.
I wonder if I should leave the Bill Grant Classic in there. I wonder if we can find you on your first show. What's this? No, that's 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. If you find any photos, it'd be cool.
Yeah, I'll find if I find photos. I should have photos on my phone somewhere.
You should post something on your Instagram or something and tag me. I want to see that now. That's nuts.
Okay, do one more thing. Take out
Yeah.
the Bill Grant Classic and just put in 2010 and see if anything pops up.
Okay, let me see. Let me share my screen with you so you can see with me. Okay, 2010, Akeem Williams. Let's see. Is this you?
That's some of the photos of me natural right there. That's
This is you natural? Your fucking bicep, dude.
Yeah,
Quad-
that's some of the
Your quads are fucking feathered. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's natural.
Is this you posing?
Yeah, that's natural.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dude, this is what most guys look like after like 5 years on gear.
Yeah, man, that was me 100% natural. Not even bodybuilding. This is how I walked around looking like that. Just shaking that on stage. Yeah.
Let me ask you, when you looked like this and you're lifting back then, and you were just messing around, you weren't bodybuilding training, but were you still lifting like crazy weights?
I was still strong. Yeah, I remember I was still squatting like 5 plates, still deadlifting like 6 plates.
You know what, man? People cannot underestimate genetics
Mm-hmm.
because that's crazy. Like,
I didn't start bodybuilding until I hooked up with Dave Palumbo.
you mean like seriously bodybuilding,
Like
eating,
seriously,
eating
like
all your
and
meals.
dieting, all stuff like that.
Yeah.
I didn't start doing that until I hooked up with Dave. He started teaching me about bodybuilding and everything like that. Because I was clueless before that.
It's funny, people talk about genetics and there's an emphasis on it, but the more podcasts I do and the more bodybuilders I talk to and the more I hear their stories, I realize how much of the piece of the puzzle it is.
Yeah.
People talk about gear and they talk about how hard work and all of that matters, but like, fuck, man, you're basically born for it. So after the first show, you win. What happens? You're like, what next?
No, I got hooked. I went to there was a show out in Brooklyn, which is a funny story, man.
How long is this one after?
Maybe a couple months after.
Okay.
I jumped right into the show in Brooklyn, and I was hungry then because I'm like, yeah, this shit is easy. So I showed up in Brooklyn. I remember this guy, he passed away, Geno Smith. He was the one that controlled the show in Brooklyn, and he made this custom jacket.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was a part of the gift. You win overall, you get a custom jacket that said Brooklyn Grand Prix on the back of it. And I wanted that jacket so bad.
You wanted the jacket? Yeah.
I wanted the jacket so bad, man.
That's awesome.
So I showed up at that show and I won. I think I weighed in at like 196 for that show.
Yeah.
Or like maybe no, I was waiting about like 200.
How tall are you? You're like 5'10", right?
5'10", yeah. 5'10",
okay. Yeah.
I weighed in at like 200 pounds or 201 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I couldn't make the light heavyweight. So they put me at the bottom of the heavyweight.
Yeah.
And I won the heavyweight class. But there was a guy, we're friends to this day. His name is Clayton Johnson. He was a really, really good amateur. He never got his pro card because I think he retired and everything like that. But he showed up that day, man. And I was just like, what the hell is this guy? Like freaky. Yeah. Shorter guy, just muscle everywhere. Yeah. And he won the light heavyweight, and it was between me and him for the overall.
Yeah.
And he ended up winning the overall.
How'd you feel?
I was so pissed.
I knew it.
Yeah, because he took the jacket and everything like that. So I'm looking at him, I'm like, yo, I could beat this guy, man.
Yeah.
I was like, I could beat this guy. So there was a show, Steve Weinberger show, the Eastern USA, which is the biggest show up here in the
Yeah. On the East Coast.
East
Yeah.
Coast. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the biggest show out here. Was
Yeah.
a couple weeks later, and I'm like, I could beat this guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I signed up for that show, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try something. So back in the days, Subway sandwich.
Yeah.
They say Subway eat fresh, Subway healthy, and stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go on a Subway diet because I didn't know what I was doing. So
you're still coaching yourself.
Yeah, so coaching myself.
Okay, go on.
So that whole week, leading up to that show, or like maybe a week or 2 weeks, I ate none but Subway, the chicken breast from Subway.
Yeah.
And bananas.
Okay.
That whole 2 weeks.
But wait a minute. Not a chicken breast sub, just the chicken breast.
The chicken breast, yeah.
Okay.
So I would go in Subway and just order the chicken breast. They used to think I was crazy because I didn't want any of the bread or anything like that.
Yeah.
So that whole week I was eating chicken breast and bananas. And I showed up. That picture that you just saw?
Yeah.
That was at the Eastern USA's.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes. So I showed up at that show, and it was against me and him again.
Yeah.
And I beat him that time. And I didn't win the overall for that show, but just beating him in the light heavyweight class, yeah.
But he got your jacket. He got
the jacket. Yeah. But I was able to beat him at that shot. I remember he showed up with a huge entourage, even Muscle Mag, because he was going to be the next big thing. Because I told you he was good. He was a good amateur and everything like that.
Right.
And I showed up that day and I beat him. I was so happy. Like I felt like I won the whole show.
Yeah.
Funny. I got my revenge.
It's funny. We have there's some similarities there. I remember my very first show, I was 192 pounds. Mm-hmm. And they didn't have any light heavyweights. Mm-hmm. So they're like, we're going to put you with the heavyweights. Mm-hmm. And I was like, fuck, man. I'm like, these guys are like, these are way bigger than I am. So they put me in the class and I won the overall. I'm like, okay, this is fine. And I thought the same thing you did. I'm like, my first show, I fucking won the overall. I mean, unlike you, I had only been bodybuilding for a year. Like I wasn't really, I kind of started everything all at once. Mm-hmm. And I was bodybuilding for about 14 months before that show. Mm-hmm. And I was on gear. So unlike you, I didn't just walk in. Mm-hmm. But I won the overall. So I'm like, oh, this stuff's not that hard. I think I want to do another one.
Yeah.
So I did another one. Mm-hmm. I won the overall at the second one. I'm like, this shit's fucking easy. I'm going to get my pro card. So, and at the time, there's in Canada, there was 4 classes, like 4 levels before you got your pro card. Mm-hmm. So I'm on to the provincial level now, which is a 3rd level. Mm-hmm. I go to 3rd level. I'm like, I'm going to kick everybody's fucking ass, right? Mm-hmm. I go there, I take 3rd place. I'm devastated. I'm like, it was the same kind of thing you were saying. Like, when you win the first one, you think, oh, this is no problem. And then you start meeting better competition and you're like, I remember going backstage. I cried backstage. My brother was back there with me. He's like, what are you fucking crying for? He's like, stop crying. So I was crushed because after winning the first 2 overalls, I thought I'm going to the top. This is no problem. And then you meet some stiffer competition and you're like, oh fuck, this shit's real.
There's the exact same thing happened to me. I didn't suffer my first loss until I went to junior nationals.
Yeah. And then you felt it.
Yeah. But I mean, hey, I competed with some heavy hitters back then, man. I was in the same class with Justin Compton, Kevin Jordan, Lloyd Dollar, and I can't remember who else was in that class with me. But those are the group of guys that we did the junior nationals together. And all of them went on to get their pro cards.
But and they've changed that now. Now it's only 2 levels, and I kind of like that about back in the day, where they had 3 or 4 levels for getting your pro card, because your junior nationals is equal to our provincials.
Gotcha.
So, if you're pretty good, you can kind of breeze through the first or second level. Yeah. And then you start meeting some guys that are like, the higher you get, obviously the competition gets better, and then it kind of weeds out a lot of the guys. So, I don't know. I guess while we're on that, before we move away from it, how do you feel about them changing things? Do you like it better before, where it was like, you had to go through the ranks and it got really hard before pro card, whereas now it's kind of like there's a lot of pro qualifiers. So that last show before getting your pro card is not as difficult as it was 15 years ago, 10 years ago.
I mean, it has its benefits and it also has its drawback. So a lot of people say it's like watered down right now. Yeah. Anybody can get a pro card now, but at the same time, you get your pro card, but it's what you do with that pro card after you get with it.
Yeah.
Don't expect to just jump into the pro ranks and do the same thing that you were doing as an amateur.
Yeah, the cream still rises to the top.
Exactly.
So yeah, I understand that. So
Hmm.
after you beat the guy, you didn't get the jacket. What happens from there? Then do you contact Dave?
Yeah. Me and Dave hooked up and we started working together.
And then what was after that? Like where did you get your pro
We,
card
we
at?
well, I spoke to Dave and he convinced me that we got to take it to the next level, and that's when I decided to get on
Get on
stuff.
gear and start and start
Yeah.
actually
Because
like
he's like he never told me that I need to take anything like that. Well, one thing I would say about Dave, he never pushed that on me.
right,
He
right.
told me like it's my decision. If you want to compete in the NPC and do certain things or achieve certain things,
Yeah.
this is what you're going up against. So it's your
Yeah.
decision to decide what you're going to do or not. So.
Yeah, I had the same thing happen to me. Like my friends that were advising me at the time were like, "Look, you can try and do it naturally, but these guys
Hmm.
are using
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z. So
Hmm.
you decide what you want to do." So,
Hmm.
there's one more thing before we move on. The Subway story.
Hmm.
It's funny how much more information is out now
Yeah,
versus
yeah,
it's like no, because like if you think about it, we're only 10 years from
uh-huh.
when you got your pro card or
Yeah.
maybe 15 years from
Uh-huh.
when you started.
Uh-huh.
And in that 15 years, there is so much more information online
Information,
now
I know.
because I remember I would be out and I let's say I didn't have my food with me because I was working
Mm-hmm.
at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I would go to Wendy's
Mm-hmm.
and I would be like, I want the chicken breast
Mm-hmm.
from the grilled chicken breast from the
Mm-hmm.
grilled chicken breast sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want the bun. I don't want the condiments. And they would give it to me in this little tray,
Mm-hmm.
and I would get a baked potato because at Wendy's
Mm-hmm.
you can get a baked potato with nothing
Yeah,
on it,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that would be my meal.
Yeah.
If you told somebody you did that now, they would be
They'd be
like,
like, you're crazy, yeah.
"But it fucking worked, so
Yeah,
whatever."
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um. So, anyways, so you hook up with Dave, you decide to get on gear. What's the next show?
Next show we did was Junior Nationals.
Okay. So you
Done
did you
that.
and did you how did you do there?
I was like either third or fourth. I can't remember. So
Okay.
I know for sure Kevin Jordan won that show. He won
Did
the
that
overall that year.
did that qualify you for the next level or no?
Yeah, he qualified. At the time, he top five would qualify for the nationals.
Okay.
So I was qualified for nationals and everything like that.
And then
Uh,
what happened
this,
after from there?
my first time I went to nationals, I did horribly, man. I think I came in like eighth or ninth at my first nationals, which was the North
Really?
Americans. Yeah.
Why what happened?
Well, I mean, Dave wanted me to be a heavyweight,
Yeah.
but once I got on gear, my body wanted to be super heavy.
Oh, okay. So he was trying to bring you
Yeah,
down.
you're trying to bring me down, and we
Ah,
struggled so hard to bring me down to make weight for heavyweight that my physique literally just disappeared because
yeah.
I was totally depleted and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Had he had brought me in as a super heavyweight, I probably would have done better.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
So when did you get your pro card?
I got my pro card in 2013 at the North Americans.
Was that like the next try or how many tries did it get
That
take you?
was the well, I competed at the national level for 2 years, and then the
Okay.
third year I got the pro card. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the rest is history and now you're here.
Hmm. Hmm.
Man, that's a fucking crazy story, dude.
Yeah.
Um, okay, listen, I know we're in a little bit of time crunch. I just want to talk about this last year.
Hmm.
So, where'd you finish at the Arnold? Where'd you finish last year?
Arnold, Ohio, I think I was sixth place.
Then you were third in the
Then
UK.
third in the UK. Then I
Yep.
went on to Canada, Toronto Pro. I came in first. I won that show.
Yeah.
Then what did we do after that? I think we went to the Olympia and we
Yep.
came in. I came in 10th place at the Olympia.
So I want to ask you about the Olympia real quick.
Hmm.
I want to ask you a couple things that are kind of
Hmm.
pressing before we go. So the Olympia, you were 10th.
Hmm.
I think William, Brandon, and who was ninth?
Uh, I think William was seventh. Raphael was eighth. Brandon
Yeah,
was ninth. Brandon
yeah.
was ninth.
Brandon was ninth. I think
Hmm.
Raphael was seventh. That's right. So I think
No, I think Raphael was eighth and William was
Oh no,
seventh.
no, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
So do you think let's assume that they're right about the Saturday.
Hmm.
Do you think you have enough to beat Brandon, William, Rafa? Like if they are right and you had looked on Friday the way you looked on Saturday, in their opinion,
Hmm.
do you think that look is enough to beat those guys?
Yeah, I mean, even the judging on Saturday, if you look at the scorecards, I beat all of them in the finals.
Well, there you go. I
Yeah.
mean, that
So
that that tells the story. So
yeah.
so coming into the Arnold then, which is why I want to have you on the podcast because you got the
Hmm.
invite. You got the invite.
Hmm.
Congratulations, but obviously from your year last year, you kind of a shoe in for it.
Hmm.
Um, so at the Arnold, then you're looking for that like top three spot, top five spot at least,
Yeah.
right? Because
That's
you.
that's my definitely my goal for the on the top three spot.
So we have Samson, Derek, Andrew.
Uh-huh.
You're looking to be in the mix with those guys
Yeah.
because if like it stands to reason, if you were ahead of Brandon, William at the Olympia, then it stands to reason you're right there with those guys.
Hmm.
What about somebody like Carlos? Have you seen Carlos's progress? And I know he's coming up. He's young. He's hungry.
Hmm.
Do you feel like he's ready to jump in the mix yet, or do you think he's still got young muscle that needs to kind of he needs to establish himself a little bit that way?
I mean, anything is possible. I've seen what he did for his last outing at a pro show. I mean, Carlos he's a genetic freak, man.
Hmm.
And it depends on what kind of package he brings to that show. Anything is possible. He
Yeah,
has a muscle. It
yeah,
just determines what type of condition and everything that he brings.
right.
He's not lacking any muscle, so he could probably be up there. I don't know.
Yeah. What show you did two shows after the Olympia? What shows were those?
Then I went to Romania, which I came in second place, and then I ended the year in Spain, Alicante, Spain, and I won
Why
that.
why didn't you do Prague?
I felt like Prague was going to be like a circus show.
Yeah, but didn't you want to be part of the circus?
Nah.
Why? Dude, you know how much I was so angry. Listen, I was so fucking angry that you and Raphael didn't do
The
Prague.
Prague show.
Yeah, because I think
I,
I think Rafa did Romania with you or something
yeah,
like that,
yeah,
right?
he did
Yeah.
Romania with me. Yeah, I
I
think
was like,
me and Rafa probably had the same idea. We're just like, yeah, we're not gonna go there and do that.
I know,
You
but
know.
this is the thing. This is the exciting thing.
Uh-huh.
So Martin beat Chris, and Martin
Hmm.
has a lot more muscle than Chris, and
Hmm.
it stands to reason that
Hmm.
you and Rafa may have beat Chris as well,
Hmm.
but because you're taller,
Hmm.
it would have been a nice comparison to see somebody with your amount of muscle
Hmm.
standing next to Chris, or even Rafa. Rafa gets compared to Chris all the time anyway.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I think the fans were like dying. They're like, "Come on, go do it!" And then you guys decide not to. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, you don't you want to be part of that circus? Don't you want to be part
Nah.
of that? No, you're like, no,
Mm-mm.
fuck it. I don't want to do that shit.
Because I mean, Chris, he already has a spotlight on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you beat him, but it still doesn't count because then he's retired and then he's not an open bodybuilder. So where is the benefit in that beating him? You
Well,
know?
I mean, business wise, you could look at it business wise, which I know is not, most guys don't think about or care about too much because it's not their primary reason for competing. But business wise, you'd think there's going to be a million eyeballs on this show.
Hmm.
I could gain a whole bunch of new fans if they see my physique, and
But
maybe just the thought, like, look,
look,
Chris.
look,
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Martin beat him,
Yeah.
and I don't think Martin get a whole bunch of fans from beating him. Because these fans are not going to jump ship and be like, let me start following Martin. Now,
No,
these
no,
fans are
no.
going to remain loyal to
Yeah.
him.
No. Of course.
In their eyes,
Yeah.
I'm sure in most of his fans' eyes, they really don't think Martin beat him.
No, they don't. Actually,
You see?
Martin got more hate afterwards.
Exactly.
Yeah, Martin was getting shit on because they're like, no, Chris is better.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Mhm.
But at the same time,
Mhm.
I think also like put the business part side of it away. I also thought to myself, Chris is kind of like this generation's Arnold.
Mhm. Yeah.
He's obviously surpassed just the
Mhm.
bodybuilding community.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I thought it'd be cool to stand on stage with like,
Mhm.
this generation's Arnold, I guess.
Mhm.
But that didn't matter to you. You're like, nah, I
It
don't
did
care.
not. It didn't matter to me.
That's awesome. Okay, so you go on, you win. What was the one you won? Not Prague. What was the one after it?
The big man weekend out in Spain.
You won the big man. So now you're qualified for the Olympia.
And I have to say that show was an amazing show, man.
I keep hearing that about that show.
Yeah,
Everybody,
man, it was an awesome show.
you know what? As a promoter now, I want to know
Mhm.
from you.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, we're a little bit over, but I want to know
Mhm.
from you, what is it that an athlete thinks makes it an awesome show?
I think it's just the way the promoter treat the athletes, man.
Okay.
Just the welcoming feeling that I got the minute I showed up there.
Yeah.
He welcomed me into his home private gym and everything like that. It just
Yeah.
made me feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
yeah,
good.
I mean, yeah.
I think we did that last year. I think
Mhm.
the guys were pretty happy that we took care of them last year. So if that's the main
Mhm.
thing, I think me and Paul and Ben all being in the bodybuilding community kind of understand that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think we have that aspect taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have the Arnold. You already qualified for the Olympia.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put Detroit aside. After the Arnold, is there any plans to keep going? Because now you sound like competing is pretty easy for you.
I,
He's gonna,
I, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's been easier than in the past. That's what I should do. Let me
I
take that back and say it's easier than in the past.
I guess I just mean this.
Mm-hmm.
Bodybuilding has never been as good for a bodybuilder as it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can make money social media, you can make money
Mm-hmm.
in merchandise, you make money on sponsors,
Yeah.
but prize money has never been what it is now.
Yeah.
So, like I think our show is 25 grand, which is just a small show. And then you got Pittsburgh,
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh's 100 grand or something like
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
There's Dubai later in the year is another 100 grand.
Mm-hmm.
I think FIBO is in the middle of April. I think they're doing something like 50 grand.
Okay.
So I guess what I'm asking is, as a bodybuilder now, there's opportunity to keep dieting, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
reason to keep dieting. You're not just dieting for a $10,000 show. Like there's some
Mm-hmm.
real money to be made.
Yeah.
Does that play into your thought process moving forward, or are you just like, if my body's tired, and that shit doesn't matter?
I would say the second option. If my body's tired, I'm going to listen to my body, and
Yeah, yeah,
because then you're just doing more harm than good.
right.
Because you don't want to show up at the show and then you're not 100%, and everybody looking at you like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. So
But
you
it,
still
but
got to
is
think about that in the back of your head.
but is there a scenario where you take a break and then jump back into like New York's in your hometown,
Hmm.
or Dubai because it's a big money show?
Hmm.
Is there a scenario like that? Or are you thinking to yourself, you know what, I qualified for the O, that's where I'm going to put my focus?
I mean, absolutely. I always feel like I get better from show to show.
Yeah,
So I'll try to do something similar as to what Samson did last year before I did the Olympia. Try to do
yeah.
like a warm-up show, you know.
You think that's going to become a normal thing for guys?
I think so, because for me, it works for me, you know. I
Yeah,
always get better from show to show.
I know, but what I'm saying is like Samson's kind of one of the first people to be like,
Hmm.
at least at that level, to be like, I'm going to compete 2 weeks for the Olympia.
Yeah.
Do you think other guys saw that, like yourself, and thought, hey, you know what? That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. A lot of guys looked at him because when he first did it, everybody just like, oh, he's gonna ruin his Olympia prep,
Right.
and he was actually better,
Yeah.
a couple
Yeah, it
weeks
did
later
work.
for the
It,
Olympia. Yeah,
it worked out for him. Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay, Akim, I got a million questions, but I know you didn't want you.
I
You're a little.
mean,
You're a
we
little
could
bit
keep
of.
we could keep like you said, we could keep going a little bit.
Okay. Okay. Well, I want to ask you first a bodybuilding question, then a couple
Hmm.
non-bodybuilding questions.
Hmm.
Um, what is it that's changed? I know your training has changed.
Hmm.
I know you're not doing cheat meals, but what is it that Chris is doing that's really kind of refined your physique? Because I've noticed like your consistency is better. Like
Hmm.
your look is always within a couple percent
Hmm.
from show to show. Whereas I think in previous shows there was a little bit more of an up and down,
Hmm.
and there's various reasons for that. But is there something that he did this year within your diet that kind of has allowed you to streamline things?
No, I think it's the fact that the fact that he's so available.
Okay,
And in the past, I had coaches that would disappear on me,
really,
and then I was left me for like doing my own thing and trying to figure out things.
Dave. Do you hear that, Dave?
No, 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 no.
I'm
It wasn't Dave. It wasn't Dave.
just
It wasn't
joking.
Dave. Yeah, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but it wasn't Dave. So, that has been different. Chris is
Yeah,
very reliable. I
yeah,
remember even when in Spain, the time difference is 6 hours ahead,
yeah,
and he would set his alarm clock to wake up at a certain time.
yeah.
So I could send him updates and he could respond and everything like that. So, just having that, background is, it just makes everything so much better and so much easier.
Um, I want to ask you about work.
Mhm.
Bodybuilding is very tough to make money at, especially early on in the early years.
Mhm.
What were you doing work wise in those early years when between 20 and 23 before 22 before you did your first show? And then like what were you working a real job? Were you just working
A lot of people don't know this, but I used to be an undergrad counselor at a university.
an undergrad counselor at a university?
Yeah, yeah,
Really?
yeah. I was a counselor at a university for like 6, 7 years.
What type of
So,
counseling was it?
so I did everything, man. Personal,
Really?
financial stuff. Yeah, yeah, everything. I did a little bit. My job description was pretty open. You
And
know,
you did that for 6 or 7 years.
6, 7 years. Yeah.
So from what age to what age?
Well, I got that job right after I finished college, undergrad,
Yeah.
and I got hired right away. And I had a roster of like 50, 60 students
Wow.
that I was responsible for, for 2 semesters out of the year. And
It's
that was my job.
it's crazy the way you assume things about
Hmm.
somebody without knowing them. Like you're a very quiet person.
Hmm.
So nobody would ever be like, yeah, that guy was a fucking an undergrad counselor at a fucking university.
Hmm.
Like that's insane. What did you graduate college? Like what was your
At the time when I got my bachelor's degree in computer science.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and I was working at the time. I was working on getting my master's degree in public administration.
Why are
So
you
I took.
bodybuilding?
I,
What are you doing? Didn't somebody pull you aside and go, "Hey, this is way easier and way more money."
you know what? At the time, even when I was working at the university, I was still training and everything like that. I've done a couple of amateur shows and everything like that. But I always told myself like, I don't want to wake up and I'm 50 years old and then the whole what if
Yeah,
factor comes in your mind. You're like, what if I had, pursued this? How far could I go? Could I maybe something out of myself and stuff like that? Because I never was the type of person to just be average.
right,
Like,
right,
I always like to like be different from everybody else.
right,
And
right,
I
right.
think bodybuilding is the one sport that you could say like you fit
Yeah,
that mold, like you're different.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny the what if thing because I was in university.
Hmm.
I was doing an honors in criminology,
Hmm.
and I didn't just want to be a cop. I wanted to kind of go up the ranks
Hmm.
and do something in police work.
Hmm.
And then I started bodybuilding, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna fucking do this thing.
Hmm.
But the cool thing is, and this is the way I thought of it, which now it doesn't matter. But for you, it's the question is it something you can go back to? Like, is that the way you thought of it? Like, I can always go back to this after
Yeah,
bodybuilding's done.
yeah, yeah.
So that's kind of like it's got to be a kind of liberating feeling for you because you're like, if this shit ever ends, I got this other thing that I can do that I also do. You like doing that other work?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll have to brush up on my skills and stuff like that, but and get back in that mindset of having a boss and those kind of things.
Yeah,
And that mindset is
yeah.
you know
Bodybuilding takes you away from that,
yeah,
like
from all
that.
that
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
But at the time when you were doing it, did you enjoy it?
Of course, to
Yeah.
this day I actually have students, my old students that actually reach out to me and I'm still in contact with to
You
this
know,
day.
the first thing I thought when you told me is, nowadays, uh, like lifestyle coaching and personal coaching and that is really popular. Is that something
Mhm.
you would ever get into?
I was pretty good at it, maybe, because I was pretty good at it. Like I said, I've helped a lot of students along the way. Like I have one student right now that's very successful, he's literally making millions.
Yeah,
And I like to say I played a little part
yeah, yeah,
in, helping him achieve his goals and everything like that. Because I remember he would come to my office and, doubt himself and stuff like that. And I would have
yeah,
to give him talks and pick him up. And,
yeah.
so I would like to say I played a little part because now I see him so successful. And I remember all those conversations we used to have in my office back then.
That's got to
And I'm
be
like,
there's got to be fulfilling to see that and know
yeah,
that
yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
But no, I just think it's a really popular thing right now. And if your consulting skills cross all these boundaries from like
Hmm.
personal to financial to professional, I
Hmm.
mean, that could be your own business. You don't have a boss. You just
True, true. I just gotta find a lot of clients that got a lot of shit messed up with them.
yeah, yeah, that's right. Well, listen, that's not hard to do right now. There's a lot of people that are fucked up and need help. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
um, okay, two more questions.
Uh-huh.
What are you holding? I've been so curious this whole time that you're holding in your
Oh,
hand.
it's
I
vitamin
can't.
C.
It's
It's a
blurry.
vitamin.
It's blurry. Put it down a bit. Yeah.
Uh,
Vitamin C. What? Oh, they're vitamin
yeah,
C capsules.
yeah, vitamin C capsules. Yeah,
All right.
it's
What is
something
it?
I put in my staple. Like I try to take as much vitamin C as I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question. I remember one time I think me and you were talking, or we were in a circle talking about something. I don't know how
Mhm.
it came up, but I came up with do you remember the show? I don't know if you ever saw the show with Jerry Seinfeld, comedians in cars getting coffee.
Yes.
And he would show up and he would get the car that the guy liked or
Hmm.
thought that represented that person, and they
Uh-huh.
would go get a coffee and just shoot the shit about comedy.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think me and you were talking, I don't know if it was LA Fit Expo or something like that.
Probably LA Expo, I think.
And I remember saying, I got this idea.
Hmm.
It's like meatheads in cars or something, or motor. I don't know. It was muscle cars and meatheads or something like that. I was going to call it. And I was going to travel around, and because most bodybuilders have like a car fetish.
Oh, you talking to the choir over here, man. I got a crazy car fetish.
Do you really?
And that's something I think I should explore more because a lot of people don't know that about me.
Yeah.
But I'm a big car guy, man. You know,
Well,
I've had some pretty crazy cars over the years.
I remember that about you. So that's kind of where I was going with this. First of all, maybe it's something we can do together because I do think it's a great idea. But more importantly, tell me about your cars because I remember you when I said it, you lit up. You're like, oh, I got that. That's a good idea. Yeah. Tell me about your cars.
Oh man, just
tell me what your first car was. That's what I wanted. What was your first car?
My first car was
it a piece of shit?
Well, it was a Mercedes.
Oh, that's not a fucking. So you start bodybuilding. You start bodybuilding. You win a fair show in a week. Your first car is a Mercedes.
It was a CLA 350, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a coupe version, V8. You know, I love that thing.
Let me guess.
I loved it.
You souped it up. You put rims on it.
I put some rims on there. Put an exhaust on there, of course. But the funny thing about that is because I remember I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go big. My first car, I'm gonna go big. So I'm like, I gotta get a Mercedes.
Yeah.
It didn't hit me until I got the first oil change, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's like $3,000 for a fucking oil change. Yeah. You're like, fuck, I should have got an American car.
Yeah. So my first car was a Mercedes, yeah.
What was that? How old were you? And was this from your teaching that you were able to buy a Mercedes?
Yeah, it was from my from the school and
or sorry, consulting, yeah.
Consulting,
What was after the Mercedes?
After the Mercedes, I think I got into the BMWs.
Is that your thing? Is that your thing, BMWs?
Yeah, I tried out the BMW thing for a while, and they're more headaches than anything. Yeah. I had a 335, which I hooked up, changed the turbos and exhaust, and I put a lot of money into that car. And I remember one day I'm driving, and all of a sudden, poof, the turbos go.
Yeah.
And I took it to a friend of mine that's a mechanic, and he's just like, dude, just to get to the turbos, I'm gonna charge you like $4 or $5 grand. And I'm like, we gotta get rid of this car.
Just dump it, yeah. Just dump it. Yeah. So
I remember I used to have to walk with a quart or like 2-3 quarts of oil in the trunk because every once in a while, you gotta. Oh man.
So let me ask you this before we move on from the BMWs. Mm-hmm. When I think back about all the cars I've had and all the money, because I was big into like lifted trucks for a little while too.
Yeah.
When you factor in all the money for like wheels and lift kits and like just exhausts and fucking just everything, engine work, you ever look back and you're like, fuck, I threw away a lot of money.
I started doing that right after my second Corvette.
Oh, now okay. Let's go back. What was after the BMW? Was that the Corvette era?
BMW. Then I did the M3. I had an M3.
Okay.
Then I went into Corvette. First I started for the C5.
Okay.
It was just like the entry, know. Then I went to the C6.
Did you get a C6 Z06 or just the regular C6?
Regular C6.
Okay.
Grand Sport. Sorry, Grand Sport. Grand Sport is the wide body, but without the Z06.
Without the engine. Yeah. What was after that?
After that, I went into the C8.
Okay.
Right during the pandemic, I got a new C8. I think I was one of the first persons in New Jersey to have a C8.
The Stingray.
So I showed up with that car, and everybody would think it's a Lamborghini because they never seen it before. Yeah. So I got into that.
Yeah.
And then I think I held on to that car for like about 2 years or something like that. I didn't hold on to it for too long because it started depreciating like crazy.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And then I
go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
No. I was gonna say I had a bunch of Mustangs. I never got into like the European cars. I had 2 shit boxes when I started buying cars. I had like a Hyundai something crap, and then I had like a Ford Escort, and then I got into Mustangs. And I think I had 2 or 3 Mustangs. I had a Super Snake, and then after the Super Snake, I got into the Corvettes. I had a C7 Z06, and then I had a 2015 C7 Z06, and then a 2017 C7 Z06. And then now I haven't bought a sports car since because I'm waiting. I'm waiting to have the money to buy the new ZR1.
Okay. Gotcha.
Dude, they're like $350,000 here. So I'm
that's crazy. You have to come over to the US and bring it back, man.
It's still the same. I'm gonna exchange the money. but it's like, have you seen the fucking stats on that thing? It's like
Well,
11, it's like 1100 horse,
yeah.
and it's like second or third on the list in the
Mhm,
Nuremberg ring.
mhm.
They just,
To be honest with you, I was thinking the ZR1, but I got a pretty good deal on the Z06.
dude,
I just
uh,
picked up the Z06
did
with
you?
the Z07 package.
Oh
So
my
that's a
God, it's
racetrack
amazing.
package. Yeah, yeah. I have a really cool one right now. I have it with gold stripes, all black with gold
Really?
stripes. It looks crazy. Yeah, yeah. And that engine alone is
Can you?
ridiculous.
I cannot believe. So I went to the Olympia in Orlando 2 years ago,
Hmm.
and a friend of a friend
Hmm.
has a dealership, and he gave me and Ian, he gave Ian a Porsche GT3 RS,
Hmm.
and he gave me, well, he gave us a choice. I picked the Z06 with the
Hmm.
Z07 package.
Hmm.
I could not believe
Hmm.
the difference between the C7
Hmm.
Z06 and the
Yeah,
C8. Like it's a
yeah.
different fucking animal
Totally different.
altogether.
Yeah.
I'm like, I
I.
felt because I've driven some supercars. I'm like, I
Hmm.
felt like I was driving a supercar. I'm like,
Yeah.
this thing is an animal.
Animal. It's a
Yeah,
different. I remember I would take my Stingray to the dealer to get it serviced and stuff like that, and we would joke around, and then he would tell me like, the Z06,
yeah.
it's a different animal. It's just like the
It's
Stingray is child's play compared to the Z06, and then I didn't realize that until I got into the Z06, and
yeah.
I was like, holy crap! Especially when you put that Z mode on,
Oh my God, I know. It's
that thing is
fucking wild.
brutal.
It's
Yeah,
wild, dude.
yeah.
I don't think I could own one though, because I think I would be in jail. Honestly, I had the thing for 3 days, and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
it's lucky I'm not in jail right now.
Believe it or not, now I get a kick out of it because I would
Yeah,
press Z mode and the car gets so loud and it literally sound like an F1 car.
yeah.
And you'll see all these guys in the shitbox Infinity and BMW pulling up, the M3 pulling up next to you trying
Yeah.
to race. I just look at them and shake my head and start laughing because I'm like,
Yeah. It's
yeah, I ain't got nothing. I'm too old for this nonsense, man.
I know, I know. You know the wild thing I got that shocked me about that car is it's rear wheel drive,
Hmm.
but it hooks up so well.
Yes, yeah.
Like my C7,
Hmm.
obviously because the engine's on the front.
Hmm.
You couldn't, it had 650 horse and
Hmm.
650 foot-pounds of torque,
Hmm.
but you couldn't put down any of it.
No, it'll spin.
You're just
Yeah,
spinning, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like the 0 to 60 time must have
Hmm.
been like a professional driver with
Hmm.
slicks and perfect weather. But this one,
Hmm.
it's like a no-brainer. You just mash the gas and it hooks up and it's
Yeah, I'm
gone.
telling you, a buddy of mine, he has a Huracan, and he loves that car, and he always talks shit about the Huracan, and I'm like, bro, my Z06 will smoke you.
Yeah. It's like
Stop.
it's half the price. It's half the price. It is faster. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome, man. I'm happy for you. That's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've been looking around and I'm like, but you know how car guys are. Like, I want the Z06 and
Hmm.
it might be a little bit more in my price range,
Hmm.
but if I know the ZR1's out there, I'm like,
To be
fuck.
honest with you, I mean, unless you're tracking that car, I'm like, what's
I
the fun of,
know. I know.
Unless you're taking that car to the track, because you're never going to be able to put that 1,000 horses down.
Yeah, but it's the same thing with the Z06. You can't
At
put
least, at least you can step on the gas a little bit more
Yeah,
comfortable with that,
yeah,
you
you can.
know?
Yeah, you can. But just knowing you have it, just knowing you have, you know what I mean? It's like,
Uh-huh.
you ever get into motorcycles or anything, or just cars?
Nah, I mean, just cars.
Trucks? No trucks?
No trucks, man, just cars. Yeah, I'm
I'm
a, I'm a
shocked.
sports guy. I
I'm,
mean, one of the coolest cars I ever had was a Fox Body Mustang,
I love the,
1989.
I love those.
Yes.
I had a friend with a Fox body that had NOS in it.
Mhm.
I couldn't fucking believe how fast that car was. Go ahead. Sorry.
Man, I remember people used to think I'm crazy, but I think that car had a soul.
Had a what?
A soul, like a
A soul?
soul,
Yeah.
like a person. Yeah, I swear to
Yeah.
God, that car had a soul because
Why?
I put a lot of money into the car and everything like that.
Yeah.
And for some reason, me and the mechanic could never figure it out. But I
Uh,
would be driving down the highway and she would just
yeah.
cut off.
I know the feeling.
And literally, I'm parked on the sideways and I would actually have to have a talk with the car and then turn the keys and right away starts up again. I'm telling you, it never failed.
I know the feeling, man. I had a it must be a Mustang thing because
Yeah,
my
yeah.
I had a 2012 Super Snake.
Hmm.
And when you super snake a Mustang, you have to do
Hmm.
all this shit to the engine. You have to do all
Hmm.
this cosmetic shit and wheels. And
Hmm.
that fucking thing was in the shop.
Hmm.
Same thing. We just couldn't figure it out.
Hmm.
Every month, a sensor, an O2 sensor would go off. Or
Yeah.
something would go. Be back in the shop trying to
Hmm.
fucking dyno it.
Hmm.
And eventually, I'm like, look, I just got to get rid of this fucking thing. That's when I bought the Corvette.
Hmm.
people kept asking me, they're like, man, you got to tune it. You got to do this. You got to do that. I'm like, because of my experience with the Mustang,
Yeah, you don't want to do anything to it.
I'm like, this thing's
Keep it
fast enough.
stock. Yeah,
It's fast
yeah,
enough out of the box. I'm just gonna
yeah,
fucking leave it the way it is. I'm not
yeah.
touching it.
And
So
I think that was one of the things I did after the Grand Sport that I owned because I put so much money into that car.
yeah,
And I realized once I decided to sell the car, like you're not getting that money back.
no,
Like people don't give a shit about what kind of exhaust you have or what kind of wheels you have. Like,
no.
you know,
They don't give a shit. It doesn't matter.
no.
All my trucks,
Hmm.
my sports cars, even my motorcycles. They don't.
Hmm.
Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a
Yeah.
fuck. They're like, um, the only time I got my money back was with the Super Snake because
Hmm.
when you badge it
Hmm.
as a Super Snake,
Hmm.
then the value actually goes up.
Oh, cool.
So I didn't make any money on it, but I got all
Mm.
my money back.
My
So
God,
that was
nice.
the only time. Everything else
Yeah.
I've gotten totally humped on.
Hmm.
So anyway, Akeem, fuck man, that's I don't know why I'm happy for you that you have a Z06. I feel like a sense of joy that you have
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
But
love that thing.
but what about the winter times in New York? How are you driving these things in the winter?
Well, I have a F
Oh,
type
okay.
all-wheel drive F type.
Oh, okay, like
Yeah, yeah,
the crossover or whatever.
yeah.
Okay, cool, cool.
No, no, the Jaguar F type. You know, the sports
Yeah,
car.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh,
it's all-wheel drive.
the smaller one.
But it's all-wheel drive.
How are you? What is it with you in small cars, dude? You weigh
I
300
just
pounds.
listen. I can't bring myself to get like a truck or SUV. I just think it's so boring, man. You
I
know, because
know, but
I like to move. You know,
I know, but the comfort, Akeem. Just hear me out for it.
I feel so comfortable in there, man.
Let me talk.
Like
Let me talk you into it.
it's like a glove. You know, you put a glove on. There's no room in the. If there's room in the glove, then it's not
It
fitting
doesn't
right.
feel good. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Or I should
Listen,
say it's like a condom.
yeah, you
You
got to
you
fit
don't
it.
want any room in the condom.
You don't want to slide off. You got to keep. No, I just because I always had my trucks for the winter
Hmm. Hmm.
and I had my sports cars for the summer.
Hmm.
And being like, I used to weigh 300 pounds, and I'm like, the truck always felt like,
Hmm.
roomy. You have compartments for your food and shit, and
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
I don't know, but I guess you're right. I guess you want it to fit like a glove, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Akeem, thank you for spending an hour shooting the shit.
Of course.
I appreciate you having on. I appreciate you having coming on, and I wish you the best of luck at the Arnold. I'll be there watching. Is there anybody you want to thank or anything you want to say before we go?
Oh, definitely. I was always like to thank my sponsors, Muscle Meds, because this whole
Yeah,
journey wouldn't be possible without them. I've been with them for a lot of years right now, and they
yeah,
continue to support me. So I always want to say, Gerard Dente and the team over at Muscle Meds, thank you
yeah,
so much for all the support over the years.
yeah. Okay, awesome, man. Listen, I again appreciate the time. Good luck with the rest of your prep, and I hope we see you in Detroit.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we'll
Fingers
talk.
crossed. It's a possibility.
Okay, brother. Thank you so much.
All right, no problem.
Okay, bye bye.
All right, bye.